The internet of value is here, across borders, beyond banks. Welcome to the future. Welcome to Apex.
Hey, my friend, have I got a good one for you today? I've been saying from the very beginning, if you watch my show, my channel, I've been saying that XRP is the special drawing rights, the SDR, or the new eSDR, electronic special drawing rights. But I've also said that it's also a global stablecoin at the same time. Now, I don't know if you've watched my other videos where I showed about the IOSCO, the International Organizations for Securities, talking about a global stablecoin being backed by financial assets all over the world, global financial institutions backing this new global stablecoin. It would be issued by a private company. It would be used as a medium of exchange. And I've done also other documents clearly showing that literally Ripple is technically a front for the IMF. If you've seen my show, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you probably think I'm crazy. But let me show you the proof here. Every time I pull out some documents, show some stuff, Smoke Dog within a few days, post some documents, show some receipts that back up exactly what I was saying and what I was showing. It's unbelievable. But I got a good one for you today, my friend. Oh my goodness. So please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much for all the love that you've been showing me. And do not miss this one, my friend. Do not miss this one because this one ties in everything I've been saying. Everything. You have to watch this video, my friend. Let's get into it. Oh my goodness, guys. The eSDR will be a stable coin that will allow everyone, not just banks, to utilize central bank money for payments and holding. You get it now? Shout out to Smoke Dog. All right, let's read this carefully here. And actually, before I read it, keep in mind, I'm going to show you more of this document because Smoke just showed a bit of it, but I'm going to show you crazy stuff after. I'm telling you, do not miss this video because this video is tying in everything. Oh my goodness, this is really good. All right, so we suggest, so this document, I'll show you where it's coming from. It's coming from, actually, I'll show you the full document after. This is coming from it's the Journal on Risk and Financial Management magazine. So, cryptocurrency SDR. In common with other central banks, the PBOC, so that's the Private Bank of China, People's Bank of China, has been examining the potential to issue a crypto version of its current currency for domestic use. So they're talking about a CBDC here. There have been conflicting messages. The central bank, on one hand, clamping down on cryptocurrency operations nationwide, while the other, the central bank itself, filling numerous patents for blockchain-related applications. We suggest that the experiment be tried first in respect of SDRs, special drawing rights, thus limiting the risk to the mainstream financial system. This document was published in 2019, so this is 6 years ago. Everything I've been saying, you're going to see the proof right here. Cryptocurrency SDRs, say eSDR, electronic special drawing rights, so it's a digital SDR, would be backed by, with their value tied to, a basket of the SDR underlying currencies in the SDR composite. So the new eSDR would be backed by a basket of SDR underlying currencies. So the SDR right now, I believe, has 5 currencies backing it. I think there's the yen, maybe the euro, the US dollar. There's 5 currencies backing the SDR. So it's saying that this new global stablecoin, this new SDR, the eSDR, would be backed by a basket of the SDI's underlying currencies. So it's talking about the underlying currencies. It's being backed by whatever currencies back up the SDR in the SDR composite ratio. The eSDR would be a stable coin. SDRs would be based on blockchain technology, thus providing new functions to support the digital economy. eSDRs would be created by the POB authorized banks against the deposit of the underlying currency. Such issuance could allow everyone, rather than just banks, to use central bank money for payments, for remittances, and holding, thus reducing financial friction. Now we're going to go here. Hey, my friend, sorry to cut off Jesse there. I just want to give you a quick heads up that I'm finally going to launch the Apex Crypto Community. This is going to be the paid home for everything. 2 weekly 90-minute live calls with research and question and answer sessions with you guys. where I answer all your questions and give you my opinion. Every call is recorded and dropped in the community, so you never miss a call. You can always listen to it later. All my content, plus exclusive videos, plus my new videos will always drop in the community first. And on top of all that, the community is keeping it lit every single day with insights, daily posts, and alpha from all of us. Daily value straight to your feed. There'll be mini courses on everything, such as crypto scams to watch out for, how to store your crypto, what are all the different options for that, Q&T, XRP, utility tokens, and much, much more. All of my 15,000 hours of research and more. You'll also get 40% lifetime commissions on any friends that you refer. As a member, you also get priority booking with me, plus a discount because you're a member of the community. The first 200 founding members get a ridiculously low price of only $49 per month for life, and you can cancel anytime. Doesn't matter if the price is $100 or $200 afterwards. As long as you didn't cancel, you're always going to pay $49 forever. When I flip the link live, I think these spots are going to go very, very fast, especially after the next Paul Barron episode that's going to be airing in a few days. So stay ready because I'm going to be screaming it everywhere as soon as the doors open. Set your notification bells on and get ready for the announcement. I hope to meet you there and finally be able to talk with you face to face. It's going to be really nice. So really looking forward to meeting you. Thank you so much for all the support in the comments. Now let's get back to the video. eSDRs would enable everyone, not just banks, to transact securely and immediately in central bank money. This would relieve users of dependence on layers of financial intermediaries with significant reductions in cost and risk. What are they saying here? They're saying that this new SDR would remove the layers of financial intermediaries. It would remove the corresponding banking. Why? Because you're settling with XRP instantly. Transactions in eSDR would be transparent as to the amount and timing via the blockchain mechanism, providing a granular view of transactions in the economy as take place along real-time risk management and financial policy analysis. Now we're going to listen to exactly what I said on the Paul Barron show when I explained this, and then I'm going to show you further in the document. You can't even imagine what I'm going to show you in this document, because I found a document that Smoke is referring to, but I'm going to go show other stuff that's even crazier than what he showed there in that same document.
So it does go back to the point that you're talking about, is they're laying groundwork here in big ways as well. But I'll be honest with you, Jesse, we studied this back today, and I am still curious because you can go down so many different angles of what Ripple's strategy could be, but yet they haven't announced it yet.
They can't, because originally it was not built for us. So like, in my opinion, because the original, to me, I see it as a new SDR, special drawing rights. Also as a global stablecoin. You see here, I said, I see it as the new eSDR and a global stable. And that's something we could get into too, because there's some documents coming out talking about new global stablecoin. It's used as a medium of exchange. It's backed by global financial institutions, financial assets. But anyways, to me, it's
still with the global stablecoin. That would have pretty much seized the price.
I think it's going to be backed because they're looking to do a new Bretton Woods. And if we look at the original Bretton Woods, it was a reserve backed by something. So I think for me, I see XRP being backed because, again, like they're very in a subtle way. The IMF and the BIS and it's the most powerful institution in the world are talking about a new Bretton Woods. Bretton Woods, a digital Bretton Woods or Bretton Woods 3, which is technically, again, the Bretton Woods was a global reserve currency,
right,
backed by something. And we have documents showing that, you know, how the World Bank is saying that XLM and XRP are stable coins. To be stable, it has to be pegged to something or backed by something. And there was no evidence that it was. So what do they know about the future of Ripple and Stellar that we don't know of XRP and Stellar? Because they're already calling it a stable coin 5 years ago when it's not pegged at the time to anything. But back to the point, sorry, is to me, I think it wasn't meant for the retailers originally, but they do need us to get the ball rolling. And actually, one of the guys, Tim Gupta, I forget his name, sorry, but was sitting on stage and they asked him about the retailer. And this is years ago, and I wish I had that video. And he was at Ripple at the time. He's probably still with them. But he said, you know, the retailers, they make a lot of noise. And we don't like that much noise. But you need them because you have a chicken and egg situation. Because I think they need the retailer at first to get the ball rolling. Like, and if you want to build unlimited use cases to make it.
I think that's one thing that definitely has occurred. But at some point,
so I'm clearly saying there, I had vanished there. So I was clearly saying there that it's the new SDR and the special drawing. It's the new eSDR and the global stablecoin. Wait till I show you in these documents here. I'm also going to show you how this document shows that people could hold it and why people need to hold it. Because every time I say it's an eSDR, I get somebody in the comments on Twitter or on YouTube say, oh, it can't be because how can we hold it if it's an eSDR or a special drawing rights? People can't hold special drawing rights. The IMF has been saying that they're going to change the way they do things. It's a reform. They're going to reform the IMF. They're going to reform the SDR and how it acts. The original SDR, you couldn't hold it. People couldn't hold it, but it failed because it lacked use cases and lacked liquidity because they had limited it to central banks and not to everyone. What they're doing here is that they're giving it to everybody, the commercial banks, the central banks, the fintechs, and the people, so that they get as much use cases as possible, so they get as much liquidity as possible. So this is going to confirm this document exactly what I've been saying. So this is a document that Smoke pulled up. This is the same document right here. So it's the Journal of Risk and Financial Management, MDPI, and they based this paper on all of this research, IMF, China's current, everything based on all that. So they reference throughout this paper that I'm going to show you, they reference all of this research. So they're not citing or saying anything that they're not backing up here. They're referencing everything they're saying is coming from all of these papers. Now let's look number 4 here. A unilateral SDR initiative by China. As per the IMF, and we all know of the reverse carry trade that Jay Claver has been screaming top of his lungs, right? This reverse carry trade of China, it has to wind down eventually. China can't keep their rates at 0% forever. They're trapped. So as per the IMF 2018A, so right here, for example, they're giving the reference, this document right here, IMF Special Drawing Rights, IMF fact sheet, April 19th, 2018. So what they're going to recite here, they're referring to this fact sheet here, which was published in 2019, actually. No, it was accessed 2019, sorry, published 2018. So back here, as per the IMF 2018 document, the SDR is an accounting unit used to express members' reserve balances. It is a basket of 5 currencies, currently the US dollar, the euro, the Chinese renminbi, Japanese yen, and the British pound sterling. SDR, 202 billion, equivalent to less than 3% of global foreign exchange reserves. That's the problem. It never gained adoption. They never meant for it to only have 3% of the global foreign exchange reserves. As we propose in the Harrison and Xaxo, wider use of the SDR not only as the principal reserve asset in the international financial system, not only as the principal reserve asset, they're talking about a global reserve asset here, not only as wider use of the SDR, not only as the principal reserve asset in the international financial system, as the IMF intended per its article of agreement, but as a fully fledged currency for use by governments, institutions, firms, and individuals, would be beneficial in reducing dollar-related imbalances. So they're saying that if the SDR was not only just a reserve asset for international financial systems, but if it could also be used, fully fledged currency for the use by governments, institutions, firms, and individuals, okay, if everybody could use it, instead of us redoing it the way we did it before, where we messed up and we failed, it never got global adoption, but if we did it this way where everybody can use it, it would be beneficial in reducing dollar-related imbalances. This, in turn, should create space and a more favorable environment for structural reforms, such as an SDR clearing account at the IMF. Oh wow, an SDR clearing account at the IMF. What did Miguel Viaz say when he was asked about the escrow that Ripple had when he was being interviewed by Thinking Crypto? He says, what do you guys plan on doing with the escrow? He says, I don't know, I know it sounds crazy for a private company to do this. I see us a lender of last resort capacity. I don't think we would ever sell all our Ripple, all our XRP. See us like maybe a lender of last resort, or maybe we could pass the escrow to another institution and they could become a lender of last resort. The only lender of last resort on planet Earth is the IMF. And after Miguel Viaz said that, not long after, he left Ripple. Maybe he left because he was not supposed to say that. That's for sure. And maybe that's the reason he left. But Miguel Viaz was CME Group, went to Ripple, worked there for a while, had a very high position within Ripple, and then left the company after making that statement. He was not supposed to say that. I'm not saying that's the reason he left, but I can assure you, I do know he was not supposed to say that. Mark my words, he was not supposed to say that. So, this in turn should create space and a more favorable environment for structural reform. They're going to reform. They're doing a structural reform. They're changing how they manage and issue and everything about the SDR. Structural reforms such as a SDR clearing account at the IMF, more effective monitoring and better policy coordination. However, efforts to promote the SDR have foundered on the liquidity premium, the higher interest rate that issuers of an SDR asset would have to pay to compensate buyers for its lower liquidity. How can the liquidity premium be overcome? The IMF has proposed official institutions committing to act as market makers. Oh, really? Interesting. What did the document that I show you, talking about a global stablecoin that would be backed by numerous financial institutions, major financial institutions all over the world, would be holding assets that would be backing this global stablecoin. And the global stablecoin would be issued by a private company, and it would be used as a medium of exchange. So for a global stablecoin or a stablecoin to qualify as a global stablecoin, it needs to have rapid international adoption, and it would be backed by, again, numerous financial assets that global financial institutions would hold, and all these assets would be equal to the value of this global stablecoin, equal to the value of all the tokens in circulation. So technically the market cap would be equal to all the global financial assets backing it. I might show it, depending on how long the video is, I might show this after, but some of you have seen that video that I made about that document. So again, the IMF has proposed official institutions committing to act as market makers, but it is doubtful that these institutions' members would be prepared to bear the costs. Even with deep-pocketed market makers, SDRs will remain unattractive to users with ready access to the dollar. China's support for the SDR was voiced strongly by then PBOC's governor in 2009. As noted, this advocacy of the SDR was in line with China's long-standing position that the international monetary system needs rebalancing away from the dollar. China's support for the SDR continued up to the RMB's inclusion in 2006, was followed by limited SDR bond issuance in Shanghai. If an SDR component were included in the next round of capital account liberalization, China institutions, firms, and individuals would likely take up SDR issuance and investment activity. Ideally, there would be some facilitative support from the IMF, including reform of its own SDR quota system. So they're talking all the time about the IMF reforming the way they do things, and acceptance by SDR constituent current policies. They probably mean policies here, so tight. Once China's SDR activity took off, it would prompt participation from international players and the development of an ecosystem. Hong Kong would have a key role to play in channeling the related financial flows and providing supportive services. With increasing use of SDRs by the international community, so increasing use of the XRP, with increasing use of the SDRs by the international community, the liquidity premium would reduce. Talking about XRP here. Every time I'm saying SDR, just replace it with XRP. It would reduce, liquidity premium would reduce. Given their relative stability, XRPs would become attractive for the pricing of long-term contracts and commodities. Long-term contracts, it kind of sounds like derivatives to me, but long-term contracts, so the SDRs would become attractive for the pricing of long-term contracts and commodities and for reserve holding and investment purposes generally. Greater use of SDRs would help moderate the imbalances and inequities in the current international monetary system because the change would be market-led and gradual. This document is 2019, my friend. 2019. They're talking about a gradual adoption. This new SDR would be gradually adopted. The liquidity would increase. What is XRP doing? They're increasing the liquidity. Reduced monetary tensions would lead naturally to peace in a broader sense, but less reason for trade wars or currency rule. A few years ago, when Trump talked about a level playing field, he said that he was speaking with China and how he was not impressed with the currency wars, how they're devaluing their currency, and these trade wars that they're having to do. And Trump said, soon we'll all be on a level playing field, much sooner than people realize. This was in 2017, I think. But then we see what happened in 2020 when they obviously stole the election. Maybe that's why it took longer, but I'm just saying, he said that technically we got to have a level playing field to fix these trade wars. Anyways, a meaningful SDR market would be good for the world. It would, oh my goodness, a meaningful SDR market. So a meaningful XRP market would be good for the world. It would also be good for China. In our view, promotions of the SDR would have several advantages from China's point of view. Firstly, promulgation of the SDR achieves RMB internalization at a stroke. The RMB's 10% share of the SDR compares rather favorably with its present 1.7% share of global reserves. Secondly, the SDR also incorporates the currencies of 4 other top trading powers: the US, the EU, Japan, and the UK. Expanded use of the SDR, XRP, would cast China as a friend of these powers and as a multilateralist. Thirdly, initiation of an active SDR market would create a global public good. What is the internet? The internet is a public good. It's a global public good. What is XRP? XRP is the internet of value. It's a decentralized internet of value. So, initiation of an active SDR market would create a global public good, which would again enhance China's reputation as well as making for a more favorable external environment. Fourth, as initiator, China would be a maker rather than taker of risks in the emerging new global monetary order. So I'm going to read this again because I showed it at the beginning, and then I'm going to show you the other document talking about global stablecoin being backed. Cryptocurrency SDRs, let's say eSDR, electronic special drawing rights, would be backed by, with their value tied to, a basket of the SDR underlying currencies in the SDR. So it's telling you that it would be backed and the value would be tied to a basket of currencies. So it's backed and it's tied to a basket of currencies. Remember that, my friend. This is what the document is saying here. The new eSDR, that's what I've been saying. That's what the document is saying here. It's backed, and again, the value is tied to a basket of currencies that's supporting the value. Let's look at the document that I showed the other day, talking about global stablecoin doing the exact same thing. Because that's why I told you. I've been telling everybody, XRP is the new eSDR, and it is also a global stablecoin, a global backed stablecoin. Actually, I'm just going to play 8 minutes of this video. It's going to be better for you because I explain it better there than I can probably explain it right now. It's a bit late at night, so it's going to be better just for me to play this part. My goodness, guys, do not miss this. All right. So like I said, this is the board of the International Organization of Securities Commission. So this is the international body that's connected to all the different security commissions in different nations, in different countries. So the Security Exchange Commission that's suing Ripple in what I believe is a staged lawsuit. I believe it's a fake lawsuit. And so this same organization that is suing Ripple, technically connected to this international body, this international body is talking about a global stablecoin. So right there it is. So the International Organization of Securities Commission. So we're going to scroll down here. So this is the Global Stablecoin Initiatives. Executive summary. Global stablecoin initiatives may present features that are typical of regulated securities or other regulated financial instruments or services. This paper identifies possible implications that global stablecoin proposals could have for securities market regulators. The content includes some background to the genesis and development of the paper, together with an overview of different stablecoin designs and a hypothetical case study. Hypothetical case study, section 3. The paper then explores how existing IOSCO principles and standards could apply to global stablecoin proposals like the hypothetical case study. So they're literally trying to figure out how they're going to set the regulations globally to literally accommodate this global stablecoin is really what they're doing here, to accommodate this hypothetical case study. The IOSCO has carried out a separate preliminary analysis, termed ISO analysis, on the application of the CPMI IOSCO principles for financial market infrastructure, which is available at Annex 1. And I'm going to try to remember to show you also the document where it talks about the regulated liability network also being called the unified ledger and the regulated internal value. This organization is mentioned in the same page that they're working for the regulations for this new FMI. The hypothetical case study. A company has determined to design a platform using distributed ledger technology to issue a crypto asset, also known as coin, right here. This stablecoin is intended to act as a means of exchange on the company's designed platform and accessible by also by third parties. This stablecoin is intended to act, and remember guys, this is about a global stablecoin. This is a global stablecoin initiative. This is not a local coin. This coin is backed by global assets. Keep that in mind. Global stablecoin, not a regular stablecoin. All right? This stablecoin is intended to act as a means of exchange on the company's designed platform. Sounds like the XRP ledger and RippleNet, doesn't it? As a means of exchange on the company's design platform and accessible also by third party. The company and third party participants in the platform intend to offer goods and services in exchange for coin. Company also anticipates that unaffiliated third party developers will create use cases for the coin. Ripple has stated that coin will be backed by assets that are held in accounts at a number of global financial institutions, collectively the reserve fund. So this is crucial, guys. This is very crucial. So the coin is being backed by assets that are held in accounts at a number of global financial institutions. And collectively, this is what the reserve fund is. So collectively, all those accounts that hold assets that are backing this stable coin, this is called the reserve fund because it says collectively, company has stated that coin will be backed by assets that are held in account at a number of global financial institutions, collectively known as the reserve fund, that is managed by the company pursuant to policies set by its governance board, and that coin's market value will be maintained in line with the value of the assets held in the reserve fund. Keep this in mind. So it says clearly here, the coin's market value, the value of the token, market value will be maintained in line with the value of the assets held in the reserve fund. So all of the XRPs, the value is equal to all of the assets that are held globally backing the token held collectively in the reserve fund. Like I said, different accounts global collectively together represents the reserve fund. Under company's proposed ecosystem, the company will operate a permissioned blockchain that will use a consensus mechanism for keeping a record of transactional and ownership information of the coin. This would be RippleNet, because if it's permission, so this would be RippleNet itself. Company has stated that the reserve fund will be managed with the goal of value preservation and liquidity. The company has stated that the reserve fund will be managed with the goal of value preservation. What is Ripple? It's on-demand liquidity. That's their main product. It's all about fixing the global liquidity crisis because the central bankers are losing control. What's happening right now, what's being built by Ripple, is exactly to the T what the Rising Phoenix article in The Economist magazine projected in 1988. It's when you read the article in The Economist magazine, it describes exactly what Ripple is doing. And that article talked about how this new global currency that would be responsible for trade and helping the FX market and provide global liquidity for the world would be best to be managed by the IMF. This is what the article described in 1988. And this is the year before David Schwartz, the chief cryptographer of Ripple, received what is technically the Bitcoin patent. If you Google search David Schwartz Bitcoin patent, you'll find a patent that he was awarded in 1989 when he worked for the most powerful three-letter agency in the world. It's a patent on distributed computer systems. It's literally the Bitcoin patent. You can read it yourself. This is 1989. So you can, the Nakamoto story, complete BS. The reserve fund will be composed of low volatility currencies, bank deposits, and sovereign debt instruments. Sovereign debt, my friend. Company expects that the financial instruments held in the reserve fund will be stable and liquid, and the value of which will be reflected in the total value of the outstanding number of coins through the authorized participant mechanism. Reserve fund will be stable and liquid, and the value is the value of all the financial instruments that are held in the reserve fund will be stable and liquid, and the value of which will be reflected in the total value of the outstanding number of coins through the authorized participant mechanisms, which is what I explained a few minutes ago. So all of the financial instruments and the assets that are backing this token the value of all of them will be equal to the total value of the outstanding number of coin. The company, so they say company instead of saying the company, right? Because it's so obvious when you say the company, right? Ripple, obviously. So company expects that there will be a number of other participants who will play a role in the ecosystem and the coin. These include intermediaries such as market makers, liquidity providers, and other authorized participants who will play a central role in creating and redeeming. So they're not creating though. The tokens are already created. There's 100 billion XRP, they're already created. This is complete BS here. And redeeming the coin and making deposits to and receiving payments from the reserve fund. The role of these authorized participants would be for a stated purpose of maintaining the trading price of the coin at a value close to the value of the assets held in the reserve fund through the use of arbitrage. The role of the other participants, authorized participants, would be for a stated purpose of maintaining the trading price of the coin at a value close to the value of the assets held in the reserve fund. The company has stated that the coin will be backed by assets that are held in accounts at a number of global financial institutions, collectively the reserve fund, that is managed by the company pursuant to the policy set by its governing board, and the coin's market value will be maintained in line with the value of the assets, so that's all of the assets that are held. Wait till I show you the David Schwartz stablecoin proposal. That's David Schwartz from Ripple. I'm going to show. Now, let's look at this. Oh my goodness. Now, let's look at this here. This is coming from OMFIF. It's one of the biggest think tanks in the world for the central banks. They talked about digital SDR to enhance payment systems. Isn't that interesting? Digital SDR, so an eSDR to enhance payment systems. They literally describe exactly what Ripple does. They talk about peer-to-peer, cross-border payments, so on and so forth. To illustrate, Southeast Asian Central Bank, which already holds SDRs in their reserves, could issue SDRs for regional cross-border payments. Foreign exchanges costs could be reduced through direct settlement between central banks, as payments would move from currency A to eSDR to currency B. So, currency A to XRP to currency B. Transactions would be instantaneous, peer-to-peer, round the clock, with enhanced transparency and data sharing. Problem posed by multiple intermediaries would be eliminated. The problem posed by multiple intermediaries would be eliminated. All providers could use the central bank-backed digital tokens. So the eSDR here is a central bank-backed digital token. They're telling you here. They're giving you the exact same description that I just showed you about this global stablecoin. The global stablecoin would be backed by major financial institutions all over the world holding assets that are backing the stablecoin. Now here, they're talking about how this eSDR would be backed. All providers could use the central bank-backed digital token. So everybody can use the XRP. It's backed by central bank money. Over time, more central banks could join, and a multilateral institution such as the IMF could take over management of the eSDR. I showed this in another video. I showed this right here. They're telling you here that as more central banks is joining the network, multilateral institutions such as the IMF could take over management of the eSDR. Isn't that interesting? So if the IMF has to take over management of the eSDR, it means they're not the one that have it right now under management. No, because Ripple has it. It's the escrow that is parked there for the IMF and maybe other central banks too. I'm not sure. There's a reason why I do it. They're saying here that a multilateral institution such as the IMF could take over management of the eSDR. If they're taking over management, it means somebody else is building this network for them. Somebody else is building the liquidity. Somebody else is building the partnerships. Somebody's doing everything, and they're going to hand it over to the IMF later. Because they're saying here, the IMF could take over management. You can't take over management of something if you're already managing. It means somebody else is doing it for them right now, and they're going to take it over. Come on, guys. Alternatively, the technology could be applied in different regions with another currency basket as a reference point. However, private sector issued eSDR may hold more promise for faster implementation of a global solution for cheaper, quicker, and more transparent cross-border payments. So if a private company private sector issued, means it's a private company. If a private company issued the eSDR, it would hold more promise for faster implementation of a global solution for cheaper, quicker, and more transparent cross-border payments. My friend, if that doesn't tell you Ripple, I honestly, I don't know what it takes. An eSDR-based payment network, like the XRP Ledger or RippleNet, would enable financial service providers to offer efficient, transparent, and inexpensive cross-border payments services. Inexpensive cross-border payment services, even for low-value and high-volume use cases. Settlement times and costs should fall substantially, and improved compliance should enhance financial integrity. The inefficiencies of cross-border transactions must be addressed. This is coming from one of the biggest central bank think tanks in the world. The use of digital composite tokens, they're talking about XRP here, should create a product that is a trusted and stable store of value. Yeah, like a stablecoin, right? So they're talking about the eSDR. They're talking about how it needs to fix the efficiencies in cross-border. This digital composite token should create a product that is a trusted and stable store of value. It has to be stable, like a global stable, as well as an effective medium of exchange. What did the document say about a global stablecoin? It has to be stable, obviously, but it's going to be used as a medium of exchange, and it's going to be issued by a private company. Exactly what it's saying here, that if a SDR was privately issued, it would be way better because you'd have faster implementation of a global solution for cheaper, quicker, and more transparent cross-border payments. In its ideal form, the eSDR will greatly benefit both private sector financial businesses and the authorities that supervise them. My friend, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to try to post the other videos here that I was referencing to, so I might show the proof where I 100% proof that the Ripple is the IMF. Literally disguised as a private company, pretty much. And I might show the full video here of the global stablecoin as well that I just showed you a clip there. Thank you so much for the love. Wishing you a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you and God bless.